guys, welcome to Red Corner Boxing. You with Jam and Mr. Neutral as always, and we've got a very special guest for you here on this magnificent Sunday. We have got former boxer, now MMA star, Miss Amy Timlin. How are you, Amy?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
I am absolutely brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Just before we get into it, though, just going to say we are proudly sponsored by Easy Storage. It's your place to go for all your storage needs across the United Kingdom. Check them out. They handle your goods with care. And also our official apparel supplier, Boxing Fight Zone. Go there for all your merch. You can't go wrong with Boxing Fight Zone. Right then, Mr. Neutral, I'll let you have first crack at Amy's question. What you got to say, my brother?
Thank you, James. Amy Timlin, welcome to the show. It's an absolute honour to have you on. Former professional boxer, now MMA star. Have I got that right? Can you give us a clue or the reasons why you prefer the far more vicious combat sport of MMA to boxing? Is there something about boxing that just doesn't agree with you when you tried it? Because you got a great record.
Or is it the money? Because the
Well,
money, obviously, is not that great in boxing,
is
especially when you're only going through the early stages of your career. It's very hard
is
to
the
like pay for training
opportunities
camps
just
to get
wasn't there?
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with boxing, it all went like really quiet on me, and like I wasn't getting fights, and I didn't have a fight for 2 years, so I kind of got bored of it. And then when I was little, I always wanted to be in the UFC one day, but obviously boxing you can't. So I always wanted to do MMA at some point. I just didn't think it would be this early on, but I'm really glad that I did transition.
Yeah, I watched your fight highlights. I actually shared the highlights of your last fight against Michaela Clark, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were fantastic in that, man. So you're a natural at MMA, but you were also good in boxing, and it breaks my heart that you've had to leave it to chase something better. It just shows that boxing at the lower levels is dying, doesn't it? That people like you couldn't get
Yeah,
a fight. You had one loss to Mary Romero, who's done some good things in boxing. That shouldn't be the end of your boxing career, in my opinion. Would you ever consider coming back?
maybe like when I hit 30 or whenever I feel like satisfied with what I've done in MMA and I've won like world titles, then I will maybe come back to boxing. But it just depends because I really enjoy what I'm doing now and like I enjoy my gym and I'm like being coached by Aaron, who I enjoy being coached by. So I'm not sure. At the minute, I'm gonna say no based on how I feel about MMA, but you just never know.
That's it. As long as you're leaving the door open, we've always got hope. We'll have our fingers crossed
Yeah.
that you come back. What actually got you into combat sports originally, Amy? Like growing up, was your dad involved, your uncles, your friends? What made you think I'm going to go to the gym and beat the hell out of people?
I was 5. Yeah, I was 5 when I first started, and
Wow.
my stepdad took my brother, and I asked if I can tag along, but he quit after one session, and I carried on. So
Oh
it wasn't
wow.
originally meant to be me; it was meant to be my brother, but obviously he just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, some people ain't got the heart for it. It's a brutal world to live in, isn't it? You know what I mean? I couldn't make it myself. I tried. I failed.
Uh,
I'm honest enough to say that I failed. I didn't have the discipline. Didn't have the heart. Couple of too many smacks to the teeth, mate. I was done. So now I just talk about it. You know what I mean? So big up
uh,
to you for sticking
and
through it, mate, with all the pain. How does it work with your
Gabby,
social life? You know,
I
like
was just
not being
I was
able to
just
go out with
about
your
to
gal
say,
pals at weekend.
On the weekend, I train and I don't go out, like I don't drink, I don't party, or I don't smoke or anything, so I don't have any bad habits. So training's pretty much my life. I don't really have much of a social life, but I prefer being in the gym and just cracking on and trying to make something of myself rather than going out and doing bad things.
That's definitely the way to
excellent,
be.
excellent.
Yeah.
That was actually going to be one of my questions, Amy. Was what what do you do when you're not training, when you're not, competing? Is there another hobby or another interest that you have outside of the ring?
I do a bit of acting. So there's that. I do like background acting. But other than that, I don't really have anything. I just like watch movies or just stay at home and stay out of trouble mostly because like a nasty world as well. Like there's so many dangerous people out there now. So to just stay away from all of that, and keep to myself is what I prefer to do.
Fair
Absolutely.
play to you.
It'd be an absolute moron who would want to approach you in any bad intentions, such as your training and that. Now, you're a former two-time Muay Thai world champion, is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that when you have that kind of environment growing up in that kind of sport, was the transition from boxing to MMA far easier because of that training?
Yeah, it took me a while. At first, when I first like went into my MMA gym, I had a boxer stance, so I was getting swept a lot. But then the muscle memory from when I used to do kickboxing, it kind of came back to me fairly
Kicked
fast.
in.
So it took about a few weeks until I settled back in again.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
Look,
Now,
you're only 25, aren't you, Amy, at the minute?
yeah.
Yeah.
25, that is so young, man, for everything you've achieved already. What's your dream? What's the end goal? Like, where do you see yourself 10 years' time, 35, Amy Timlin with her husband? How you looking back on your career? What would you like it to be, to look like?
Um, Hopefully to make it to like the big scene, like the UFC, hopefully. But at the minute I'm just going with the flow and gaining as much experience as an amateur, and then eventually turn pro.
Perfect,
I,
mate. Perfect answer.
yeah.
That's what will get you to the top, mate. Keeping that level head. That's exactly what you need. Something I never had, neutral never had. But at least you've got it, Amy. So you're going places, and we can't wait for the journey. Who's your next fight against? I've seen you've got a new fight announced already. Is it 6 weeks, 7 weeks time?
Yeah, so my next, I can't say her name, so obviously out of respect I'm not even gonna attempt. Um,
Okay.
but I just know she's a very good fighter. She's a jiu-jitsu fighter, so she's quite good in on a ground
On the ground.
on like her back and stuff. So my
Yeah.
goal is to just keep it standing and not get taken down. And then play to my strengths, not hers. Like sometimes when you're in there, you fight your opponent's fight, and that's what they want. So I just gotta keep it how I want it and play to my strengths, and then I'll be all right. But yeah, she's a good fighter, and I have a lot of respect for her. So
Mm.
Brilliant. Can't wait to see the highlights after you knock her out.
Yeah. With the contract that you've got, are you guaranteed a certain number of fights every year?
so as an amateur, I could fight however many times. Like I could fight each week if the fights were there, but it just depends because the opponents are limited. So I mean, I'll fight whenever. Like if my coach came up to me and said, "Oh, you got an opponent next week. Would you take the fight?" I would say yeah. Because as an amateur, records don't mean anything. So like you just want to get that experience, and if you lose, then you just take it on the chin, go again next week.
Yeah, yeah. And you
Definitely.
mentioned you've got a new coach. Um, do you recognize the subtle differences in coaches, as you've gone, from one coach to another? And what does each one bring to you that that's memorable, that you'll always take with you?
So the coach I've got now, he's been coaching me my whole MMA journey for 14 months. Um, and I honestly have so much respect for him because he puts like 100% effort into every single fighter. And he puts a lot of work in with me as well. Like obviously my takedown defense is what I had to work on mostly, and he's put a lot of effort into that, especially since my first fight. And he's just an amazing coach. And yeah, he was a great fighter himself as well. And he has like if when I go on the scene and stuff, like so many people come up to him because they all respect him as like a person and a coach and stuff. So yeah, I mean that speaks for itself. Like how many
Yeah.
people just like admire him. And yeah, I'm really lucky to have him as my coach.
And
Yeah, respect is definitely earned in
that's
that
a
game.
great comfort to have, isn't it? When
Yeah,
in your own mental well-being, when you're preparing yourselves, and you just know you're in the right place at the right time.
yeah.
Now, I did notice that you fought at four different weights as a boxer. Um, you have mentioned that if the time is right and you've achieved what you wanted to achieve in MMA. and did return to boxing one day, would it be at a higher weight, do you think, considering, the time it will take, and how old you'll be at that time?
So obviously when I was boxing, it was a weird one. Like I was fighting at bantamweight and super bantam, but the girls were massive compared to me. Like getting in there with them, they were huge. They put on a stone after they weighed in, and I stayed the same. So I was really little at that weight.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe if I do come back to boxing in like a few years' time, which is still not on the cards, but it's potential. But hopefully I'll be bigger and stronger. But at the minute, I'll enjoy fighting at 52 kilo because I feel like that's a good weight for me to fight at.
You're
Definitely. Did you watch
comfortable.
the Duplessis against Chimaev fight last night?
I didn't know because I was out at my an MMA show supporting my teammates. So when I got back, it was too late.
Oh, bless. It was a one-sided beatdown. Anyway, the South African got smashed by Chimaev. It was so one-sided, the most one-sided title fight I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So
Now,
it's just
Oh,
brutal. It's a
sorry, no, no. I was talking about. I thought you meant the boxing there. No, the UFC.
yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. Kamzat, he just mauled him.
He
Like
did.
his wrestling is so good, and I don't know how anyone's gonna defend those takedowns. To be honest.
I agree.
yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
agree.
brutal. Now, you've been on actually a big event. Was it in 2018 or 19? It was the Usyk Chisora fight, wasn't it? You was on the undercard.
Yeah.
You
That
see,
was crazy when I think about it. I've still got the little wristband what has like the name on there just as a
yeah.
memory.
Now, when you look at that sort of scene and that sort of event that you were participating in there, was at that time, is it thought it was impossible for women boxers to get to that sort of stage? You've seen Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, and of this year, and the way that women's boxing has come to the fore. I get the feeling if you do really well over the next few years, the demand for your name to return to boxing would be huge. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it would be quite a big thing. Like if I was to come back to boxing, I think now it would like it would probably get spoken about a lot because obviously I came away to do MMA. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I make it in MMA as well. And then returning to boxing would be such a big thing because obviously it would. I mean, I think Holly Holm did it, didn't she? Didn't she?
She
Yes,
Hasn't
she
she
did.
did.
returned to boxing
Yes,
now
she did.
again?
She
Yeah.
has. Yeah.
So hopefully it's the
Meatball
same.
Molly's also returned to boxing as well, isn't she? She was a boxer
Yes.
Yeah.
previous and then went to the MMA. Now she's back.
She's
So it can be
36 now.
done. We're still expecting you back, Amy. We're still expecting you back. We want you back in the red corner. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep
Hopefully.
the hope.
Hopefully.
Definitely. You'll get there one day. Well, Mr. Neutral, have you got any more questions for Amy or should we let her go and enjoy a Sunday afternoon in the sunshine?
Let's let Amy go and enjoy herself. Thank you so much for coming on to the show, Amy. It's been a pleasure and an honor, and we wish you all the very best in your future coming. We hope to have you again one day in the
Thank you
future.
so much for having me on.
Thank
Absolute
you very
pleasure,
much.
Amy. God bless you. And we're just going to say again, we're proudly sponsored by Easy Storage and our official apparel supplier, Boxing Fight Zone. So from me, Mr. Neutral, and the fighting warrior that is Miss Amy Timlin, we bid you a good Sunday. God bless y'all.